Well, good morning, everyone. Don Cramer with the Cramer Group at Urban Nest Realty. Welcome to a holiday edition of Coffee with Cramer. And guess who I have here, ladies and gentlemen? The lady herself, Colleen Schaefer, our partner here at the Cramer Group, joining us with our holiday edition. Welcome, Colleen.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. So I've got a little holiday mug here. Got a little
Hmm,
real estate holiday muggy here.
I
But
love that mug.
what are you sporting today?
Okay, there's New Year's resolutions, right?
Yes,
Right, but New Year's isn't until Thursday night.
that's correct.
So I decided that this morning, let's see if everybody can see. It's coffee and biscotti. Let's see if we can. There
Ooh,
it is.
I'm
You
made about
know, they
jealous.
have these. Yeah, you should be. They have those big jars of the biscotti at Costco.
Yep.
We made the mistake of buying one.
There you go.
So,
There you go.
you know, cold morning, hot coffee,
I
and a
like
little
it.
crunch.
I like it. I
And
like it.
what are you sporting really?
Well, this morning, a gift from a couple clients. One of our vendor partners, a new mug
Mhm.
for the holidays here, and
Yeah, I'm waiting
then
on mine.
some coffee from another vendor partner, who I like. we've, she's also been known as the work wife back in the day, and now the ex-work wife because we're partners now during
But she doesn't
nine to
hate
five.
me.
She doesn't hate you. No, no, it's an amicable relationship. Some
Mm.
Red Bay coffee from Oakland. So she had bought some beans from a purveyor up in Oakland who's sourcing and roasting single origin beans.
Oh,
And
nice.
so
I might
just
have to
sampling
do
a little of
that.
that this morning. Yeah. And you
Tell
know,
me, give me the thumbs up or thumbs down.
I will. And right now this morning I'm having the one they call Coltrane, kind of like John Coltrane, the jazz
Nice.
musician. So it's got some nice little notes in there. So I'm drinking it straight up. No creamer, no sweetener. Just to kind of just taste the coffee itself. And so far so good. It's a good medium roast.
Very nice.
Without so it's not real heavy like a real dark roast, but and it's got a good blend there.
So,
So
so far,
so far so good. So far so good. So
recommended.
yep.
Okay.
So
Very nice.
excuse me.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Here's to
Absolutely.
New Year's.
Cheers to New
Hmm.
Year's. And we're here a little bit kind of, this is that week where you see all these shows, Colleen, where it's like, okay, we look back on 2020 or we give our 2021 predictions, and we thought we kind of do a little bit of the same.
Yeah, yeah. It's it's been a different year. It's been a year of adaptation.
Exactly. As somebody I know close to the heart says, she would call it Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Well, this 2020 was no exception.
No, and it's just question marks because I don't know that we ever finished off the what, do you know what I mean? There
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a definitive, okay, so for 2021, this is where we're still in kind of a flux, if you will, a different
Yep.
way of doing things, not a standard, okay, this is the new policy.
Yeah.
We don't have it.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, when you look at us right now, um, hotels are still not fully reopened. I mean, some of them are even
Mm-mm.
shuttered Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. Um, the Rio, after several months offline, finally reopened about a week ago. Uh, Major projects that were slated to come on into this year have been now deferred to 2021. Excuse me. Restaurant capacities 25%. I mean, there's so many things still going on, both locally here, but also too, nationally. I mean, in some cases, I've talked to some friends over the holidays, even us at 20-25%, and the ability, as you see, with the people being able to build tents out in front of their uh, places of the restaurants to expand capacities just to get more people in. Um, are doing better than some of them, which are just completely shuttered.
It just depends on if you had the ability to do that. Now,
Yep.
takeout's been a lifesaver for many.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not,
Yep.
it does not, it doesn't overcome the loss of in-house, all the people that work there, the tips, the
Yep.
volume, et cetera. But I mean, we have adapted to, I mean, I sit in the parking lot and wait for my Thai food, and then I go grab it at the front, right at the front of the restaurant, and we take it home. And we never really ever took Thai food home. We just you go to the restaurant for the experience and the service and et cetera. So I
Yep.
think that has been a lifesaver. This, what we're doing right now, has been a lifesaver. And I've actually become, I don't know that you ever weren't comfortable with it, but it was very much something I had to get used to,
Yeah.
and kind of go, okay, how does you're not in front of me. I can't feel you. I can't, and then you kind of learn, okay, all right, you can do it. So there are some changes that have helped keep us to survive, if you will. And then the market hasn't really gone bad.
Well, and that's kind of what I wanted to sort of let's roll the clock back right about a year. You and I
Mhm.
together as the Cramer group for a full year. We had a pretty good year, and we were setting sights on a bigger year. Um, and but we were seeing some interesting things that were happening pre-COVID. Interest rates were still kind of trending downward a little bit. Part of that was pressure from the White House. There was concerns about the economy starting to sputter out going into an election year. COVID was
Mhm.
still sort of on the radar screen, but it was still an overseas radar screen item right this time a year ago. And what we weren't seeing, we were still seeing a shortage of real estate. I remember Lawrence Yun, the chief economist for the Association of Realtors, stated that the United States was short about we were short approximately 3 million homes here in the United States based on production numbers and based on growth of families over the last 10-year period.
Mhm.
Just that whole pure effect. We're short 3 million, and we'd have to be building at a certain rate over the next several years to catch up, to sort of build some equilibrium. And about this time, we weren't quite at our all-time highs pre Great Recession. We were still just slightly under about the $300,000 to $305,000 range. Um, so we saw that in the early part of the year. Interest rates were low, not anywhere near where we are, but lower. They were trending downwards a bit from 2019. So demand was still strong, and we were especially seeing it right when we went into the last week or the middle of March. Like I remember, like March 15, March 16, when the governor announced he was shutting down the city. That week, we had more houses in escrow than we did for sale. I think we had like 4,600 approximately in escrow, and we had 4,300
Two, yeah.
available for sale.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that
Yeah,
was
because I remember that. I remember
yeah,
looking at that and going, wow, okay, let's see
yeah,
what happens.
exactly. And people were, so we were coming with COVID. We weren't sure we were going to do the lockdown thing, but they came in. It came in quick, and then all of a sudden, okay, what do we do next?
Now, how does this? I mean, in lockdown, think
Yep,
about it.
yep,
We had open houses planned. There's
yep.
all the in our job is a lot of in person, um,
Well, it's
meetups,
exactly.
people contact.
It's
So that was a
conversations.
whole, oh, big time. And that's the curveball that was thrown to all of us, not just you and me, but it really was trying to figure out, how does this work now? How do we make this ball keep rolling, and worried about economy.
Exactly. And so, the first couple of weeks, when we saw a tremendous drop because we weren't quite sure nobody was quite sure what was going on, except everything was shut down. I mean, the Strip was a ghost. It was like one of those Stephen King movies.
It was weird. Wasn't that just
Yeah,
bizarro to see no lights, no cars, no nothing? I
e-
mean, people were riding their bikes down the strip
exactly.
in
Down
the
the
middle
street,
of the street. I'm not
on the
talking about
sidewalk.
sidewalks.
Exactly. Exactly. And I missed
No,
that. I
no.
should have took advantage of that when I could have. But
Yep, you and I should have.
um,
Mhm.
there was so much weirdness going on, and then we were deemed an essential part because there was the non-essential and the essential industries that could carry forward. And because of construction, there were a lot of construction projects going on. There was some opportunities to employ some safety measures with regards to COVID. They stayed in place. Housing still continued, and so us at real estate in a modified situation, we're still able to carry on.
Yeah,
And
we could still, we just
yeah,
had to adjust accordingly.
exactly. And then there was massive stimulus passed. There was eviction moratorium,
Mm-hmm.
which is still carrying on. Forbearance, the initial six
Stimulus
hundred
check.
dollars a week checks, and then also too they shot the interest rates right to the bottom.
That was the interesting where we tied that back in, I think, and help me remember. But pre-COVID, we'd hit up into the four and a quarter. We were bouncing
Yep.
into the fours,
Yep.
and when this happened, we bounced right back down into the threes, two and a halfs, even at times. I mean, there's rates out there that. So again, we didn't feel the effect of what I would have expected. I think it was kept to a minimum because of the ability to, okay, you can borrow so much money for practically free,
Yep.
um, that people were still able to do it.
Exactly. And you know, I always like to look at the market as a series of forces supporting and forces against, tailwinds and headwinds. It's like a sailing
Hmm.
ship. If you've got more wind behind you, the boat moves one way. If you're you got too much headwind, you're gonna have to figure out a way to move the boat around. Um,
Hmm.
when we were 28, 2008, and this is I wasn't in real estate at the time, but I was getting not people knocking on my door. The issues with friends, people lotteries. I was on the outside looking in, and I knew it was a bit of a head scratcher because number one, I was seeing people that could not. I knew how much I had a good sense of what they were making or what they were able to afford, and they weren't
Right.
able, and they were buying into various loan programs or buying various things that weren't square, weren't
That
20%
was
down.
pre 2008. Yeah, there you're
Yeah,
going into 2004, 2005, where all of this
six.
just
Yeah,
snowballed.
there was a lot of
Yeah.
production. What 1,200 or 12,000 houses a year were coming online here in Las Vegas. People were forming lines at communities for lotteries, and every house sold. I think the price went up 1,000. Just
Oh,
kookiness.
10,000.
Yeah,
Let me explain. I had people that had checks ready for 10,000 and 20,000 just to get into the lottery.
exactly.
It was
Absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah, you were in the middle. You lived
Hmm.
it, and then also too, people were pulling equity out of their houses. They were buying RVs. They were buying boats. They were buying
Two and three houses.
motorbikes, two or three houses,
Hmm.
uh, and as you know, then the end result, they were, people were overstretched, and the market came crumbling down, and
Yeah,
because it's
that kind of volume or growth, that the bubble's got to burst.
right,
But
and people were buying things, and they were buying because they were hoping that, okay, they'd flip it on the appreciation quickly and get into something else. I was seeing that too. Okay, hey, this house is up 10%, 20% over a 2 year period. Why not go ahead and sell it?
yeah, yeah. So what the end result was not
It's a house of
the
cards.
best. Yeah.
Now I look at 2020, and we have headwinds going in, and the biggest headwind, and we see this right now, is price point.
Right.
We're at record highs. We passed it was funny. We were still below the pre-Great Recession, the '08 recession, '09 recession high of 315, 316, still before COVID. And then we surpassed it like a month or two after COVID.
Yeah. So where does that put your comfort level?
Well, this is where I feel like, okay, if I go headwinds and tailwinds again, our
Mhm.
headwinds, I think our biggest headwind is affordability still. And that's my biggest worry because when I look at it, price, inventory availability, and then that's also driving affordability because if we don't have enough houses to sell and there's so much demand, that's going to continue to drive the prices higher.
Mhm.
Until we can correct the supply situation a little bit or tamper down the demand situation a little bit, that direction is going to continue to grow. Uh, Now, there are supposed headwinds out there with regards to forbearance and the eviction moratoriums and when those
Yeah.
come forward. Uh, we haven't seen anything of that nature just yet with regards to any eviction or not evictions, but um,
Foreclosures.
foreclosures because
Yeah.
the stats don't show it. There aren't those. They're not being processed. They're not being foreclosed upon in any great numbers. So people are still taking advantage of this, but we'll see what effects there may be in May or June. Now that being said, we are also going into a new administration. The Biden administration. I think the incoming administration. Uh, I think the banks. I don't think they want to see a '08 '09 repeat.
No. No. Opinion mine,
Yep.
we can't afford to. We can't afford to. There's so much out there right now that would be a problem,
Right.
you know. So having said that too, we keep growing in demand, but to slow the demand, interest rates going higher would slow that demand. Because if you look at it, people that were renting and couldn't afford a house with these interest rates can now afford a house, and a lot of house. So as prices go up, it's not as devastating to your budget. So okay, houses are a little higher, but my payment is still something I can actually see myself making.
Yes, exactly.
Opinion mine.
Exactly. A lot of people, we went into this situation with a much higher degree of equity than we did in '08. Um,
Hmm.
there was a large segment of the United States more, from home ownership. Their mortgages were paid off.
Yes.
We had triple the equity position that we did back in '08 '09. So we had basically an overall strong balance sheet with regards to housing. Um,
Yes. And the houses were purchased in those
yeah,
times at prices that were, no offense to anybody, I hope we never see again.
right.
Because getting there is the problem. So yeah, there's my question mark for 2021, all of it, not in the beginning, but probably more towards the end, and for future, where do we balance it out with a healthy, people hate me for this, a healthy interest rate so that our economy remains healthy and that the home ownership is something that stays stable. And that's the question for me for 2021. Because supply and
Absolutely.
demand, the demand is big, so the price goes up and the interest rates are small. But if we start balance, and again, there's always this need for inflation. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've grown up hearing the need for inflation, and I understand the need for inflation, but I don't know what we would do if the inflation goes so high
Yep.
that all these people that have purchased now, there's other people that just can't. So your home value is not as great because not that many people can buy them. I do think, though, people are buying more to live in as opposed to the mass glut of investment properties, 2008 style.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it was weird investment properties. I don't know if you saw some of these people buying investment properties, but I didn't see them having a very good rental strategy either.
No, and don't get me wrong, we've got plenty of clients that do investment properties, but it's
Yes.
done in a way that is sustainable.
Yeah.
This year we've seen different,
Absolutely.
the way that they put their game together and their strategies and how they're doing them. It's like, okay, this I can see because it's a long term.
Yep.
So our investor clients, it's really easy to go, I get it. So that doesn't concern me as far as the way that 2008, even, and when we say 2008, 2004, 5, and 6, the investment strategies were put as little as possible down and get an adjustable rate. And that's not what's happening right now. These are fixed rates. So
These are fixed rates.
that
Yeah.
part gives me some feeling of safety net. But I think in 2021, we've got to see some kind of balance, or 20 into 2021 to 2022. Just depends on what I think the new administration feels they need to do to stabilize the economy with COVID and all the things that are going on. Right now, we don't have any problem listing or selling homes.
No, no, we don't. No, we don't. And so when we think about those, okay, so my big worry is it's the supply side, like you said too. If we could adjust the interest rates up a little bit, and I'm not, I'm not trying to be a
So,
Debbie
so
Downer on
right.
it.
I don't want to get hate mail.
We're in the middle we're in the middle of the high twos. But think about this big picture wise. Even at a 3.5% interest rate, which actually would be a fair jump right now at this moment, would probably bring things back into balance. And just to give some people that are tuning in here a sense of what's going on, just over the last 7 days,
Hmm.
we had, and I'm just pulling this up. This is from our MLS system. 7 days, so that is last Monday to Monday during Christmas, during the Christmas break here. 250 new homes go on the market. Now, at our peak in the summer, we were putting on about 7, 8, 900 homes on the market. So we're at our low, and this is our typically our lowest time of the year. But under contracts this last 7 days, Colleen, we put in 562 homes into contract.
See, yeah, yeah.
So for people tuning in, think about that. If you only put in 250 and you're taking out 560, that's, I use the old adage, we're draining water out of the tub. And we're not caught up yet, and a lot of that has to do, there's a lot of it I think is COVID related. I think there's people that are feared, hey, with COVID I don't want to do, I'm going to hunker down, I'm going to wait. Then there's other people that are going, you know what, hey, I'm not sure what's going on economically, I'm going to hunker down and wait. um, and then there's other people, because we talked about, this is these situations that come up even pre-COVID, where they were looking at the baby boom population. What we weren't seeing a downsizing uh, that we saw with previous generations. Now we're trying to figure out, is that economic security? Is that, what are those concerns? Why aren't they going? Why, once they're empty nesters, why aren't they going down to uh, a house that's more like 1,600 into the low twos thousand square feet versus a 30,000, 3,500 to 4,000 square foot family home. Especially when we see that demand, like you said, 2020, big change. Big homes are back in again.
And so are RVs. So I
Exactly.
think those go hand in hand. The idea is you're spending more time. We've said this over and over again. You're spending more time at home. However, the other part again goes with the interest rate issue. You can go into, why not? I'm not strapping myself
Nope.
with a huge mortgage
Yep.
because the interest rate is not going to kill me.
Right.
And if I'm going to be here for the next 10, 15 years, I mean, people now are looking at where are the schools and where do I want my kids to live and what's the neighborhood.
Yep.
And it's again, prices are going up because that demand for even the small homes. I'm not just talking about the large homes.
Oh
If you
yeah.
think about it, houses anything 300 or less, it doesn't stay on the market very long.
Exactly. I mean, even we're seeing it now. It was creeping into the 500,000 to 750 segment, where we're almost seeing, for every 5 houses we have for sale there, 4 of them are going into contract.
Yeah, very
That's a
much so.
pretty aggressive number.
Very much
Um,
so.
and we've seen now since November, late October, early to mid November, more, we went into that situation again where we have more houses in contract than we do total number wise for sale. Now houses are still coming in; they're just not coming in anywhere at the rate that keeps up with the demand. So, like you said, an adjustment in interest rates now that we are understanding interest rates from a national level and the Fed are going to probably remain low through 2021. That's what we've been hearing.
There's just too much instability. I
Yep.
just don't think they're going to throw that at us at this point.
Yep.
And because we don't know the outcome and you're going to take it into 2021, when does the moratorium or the forbearance stop?
Yes.
Because when you can start foreclosures, evictions, and people have to take that money that they are actually, forbearance doesn't mean forgiveness. So basically, what's happening is the equity that we were speaking of earlier, that people have grown in their houses, it's now kind of being absorbed back into the note. But now they're talking about absorbing it back into the note, but then refinancing the entire note, which this was something I really wanted to get into. From my understanding, and speak to a lender, okay, I'm not a lender, and I don't even play one on TV at this point. The What I've heard is, and my understanding of it is, they are actually not just tacking it onto the back of your note. They are allowing you to reassess and package the loan so that entire amount starts back over at the 30-year payment, so your payment doesn't hit you so hard as well. So it's kind of an interesting, you lose your position that you've been in as far as how many years you paid on your note,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time it starts you back over at even a lower rate if you can qualify for it. So there's things you can talk to a lender, but it was like, I that that's another way of people not having to get out of their house.
Yep. Yep. And so when we kind of get back to that, the headwinds, tailwinds, I mean, my biggest headwind concern is it's supply. It's how do we get that out there?
Yeah.
And we've got some different predictions here, and I want to kind of talk about those a little bit here from different groups. And I'm going to start out with the big one because this is the guy that Lawrence Yun. We've talked about him a few minutes ago. He's the chief economist for the National Realtor Association. So he's one of he is the short list of people that the industry looks towards, and he's looking at the numbers and he's looking at, okay, what's going on big picture wise. Um, so Lawrence Yun, this is an article from National Mortgage Professional, and we're going to put these links in the feed here today. Is predicting a strong housing market for 2021, and he stated that the increase uh, in collective savings through federal stimulus will ultimately stimulate the economy once the COVID-19 vaccine has been distributed. He's forecasting a 20% total growth in new home sales in 2020, as well as a 3% overall in existing home sales for 2020. He expects the upward trend to jump even higher for 2021, forecasting a 21% jump in new home sales and a 9% jump in existing home sales in 2021.
So new home sales, how much? 20,
20%. So
and then
let's
in existing homes?
9%. And that's
Okay.
up from this year's. He's seeing it looking at coming in at 20% for new, 3% for resale
Gotcha.
nationally.
Gotcha.
Again, big picture numbers.
Big picture. Yeah.
So if that gives you an idea, I mean, that would say Las Vegas would jump in new home sales because I think we're around like what 3,500, 3,600 new home builds a
New
year.
homes.
So
Hmm.
that would push us up to like 40, into the mid 4,000s. Now, just from permit wise, land availability wise, all that type of stuff,
Just the
we're not
construction and yeah,
we're not going
yeah,
to get to 20%.
right. Well, opinion, mine and yours. I mean, the truth of the matter is right now, just getting into permits, getting into the city offices, getting the inspectors out there, it takes, and then just getting the materials.
Exactly. And lumber
There's so
prices are up.
many. Yeah, yeah. But see, that's the thing. And you and I talked about this, so I would like you to expound on it. The positive, negative, the concern, the question mark is what is this effect is this really going to have in 2021? I understand wanting it to be a rosy year, and my goodness, no matter what, we still don't have the answer as to when does this whole thing stabilize, and then what happens with all the money for from commercial to residential and beyond get paid back,
Yeah. Well, that's a great
right?
that's a great question.
That's our
Uh,
crystal ball we don't have. But right
yeah.
now, every indication is that housing is going to be fine.
Yeah. Every indication, and a lot has to do with just the built-in equity and demand.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
And I always lock into regardless is the interest rate. If you get into a house that you can afford readily here now,
mhm.
um, there's affordability. I mean, we're not in 8, 9, 10% interest. Or if you took that the amount, what there wouldn't be the houses flying off the shelves, like you said, the larger or the more expensive, and our prices wouldn't have come up. So to me, 2021 doesn't look like it's going to be. Um, it still looks like it's going to be a movement upward with real estate.
I think because the interest rates are still going to be low, people still in a great equity position.
Hmm.
Demand for upsizing, especially if you bought a home, and we've got clients that are on radar screens right now, thinking about 2021 upsizing because they bought in 10 and 11 and 12. So think about that. That house is most likely doubled in price. So that
Hmm.
house that might have been 100,000 or 200,000 is now 400,000. Um,
Hmm.
and that is our fastest selling market. And because they are able to put 100,000 down or 200,000 down, they're then able to move into for an equivalent 4, 5, $600,000 home with a negligible change in payment.
That's pretty much the the people that we've seen are coming from a house that they might have paid 150, 200 for, and now they're looking at 6 and 7.
Exactly. Yep.
And with equity of sale and then interest rates, they're getting what they want without really feeling the bump.
Exactly. They're able to still maintain
Hmm.
their cash flow because ultimately, like you know as well as I do, it's like the it's not necessarily the price of the house. It's the affordability of the payment.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where I see the 2021 still being
Yep.
all good. And I don't not say don't I'm not concerned, but I'm not as concerned with a bubble burst as much for the people that purchase now with the lower interest rate. What
Yep.
I'm looking to and saying it's somewhere I believe it has to happen is interest rates will be bumped up, and then the ability to purchase goes down as far as dollar for dollar. And so that will slow this demand deficit, the deficit of having what we need. Um, but I think, feeling mine, that the government is going to make sure that it's done at a rate that we don't crash.
Exactly. And they've already done quite a bit with regards to
Hmm.
um, the first the forbearance, the moratoriums, the first level of stimulus rounds. They just passed this new $900 million stimulus. Look, regardless, there is a special election coming up here in Georgia, and that's whichever way that goes. that's going to probably have some longer range effects, but most likely, the incoming Biden administration, you new administrations typically get some honeymoon period to move some additional um, stimulus over. So depending on what's going to happen, are they going to continue with, again, ease and support of the system with regards to people that are maybe on the edge, to soften that until the COVID vaccine gets out further and the economy starts showing job growth again? Or are they going to do an infrastructure package? You know, so we'll see how that comes, and what that's going to be. But there's going to probably be some level of, again, another round of stimulus, another economic piece of legislation coming out in the first 90 days to 6 months in the incoming administration, that could again help you with home ownership or purchasing. I mean, and this is one thing that Lawrence, you even brought up here too in this article. Biden presidency could bring several impactful changes to the housing market. He said the home buyer tax credit that the Biden administration President-elect Biden's proposing as a candidate would help Americans with their down payment costs, and other additional guarantees and insurances, backed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Mm-hmm.
So those types of pieces of legislation and stimulus from the federal level could continue to build demand and support for people looking into getting the housing market, even though we're still at record prices.
Yeah, yeah, and then we'll change from the that topic to how we do what we do.
Yep.
How did that change in 2020 to 2021? I'm so excited we can do an open house on Sunday. I can't even tell you. Oh
Yep.
my goodness. Now, has it changed? We used to have all sorts of stuff out and have everybody coming in and out, and it was just this whole,
Big party.
which I love the social end of meeting everybody and going, how are you? Who are you? What are you looking for? This house is great. It's now going to be more of a one-on-one at a distance.
Yep.
So it's definitely slowed the roll as far as the ability to touch and welcome in as many people as you'd like. However, I look for there to be a continuous flow because, again, people are looking forward to getting out and looking at houses and knowing what's out there. And if this one's gone before they get to it, what else is available, or can we keep our eye open for? So there's the ability now to touch people, talk to people, and get into what their personal desires are, needs are, where they want to be, why. So to me, that's like getting back to normal.
Yeah, no,
Only,
a little return to normalcy. I mean, that was a big,
yeah.
and you talked about it earlier in today's segment about open houses, how that was a pillar of our strategy. And I know a lot of agents, that was their bread and butter.
Well, and it is a nice. I want to call it a tool because it sounds like there's something nefarious behind it. It's a way of comfortably people coming in and being able to, without the pressure of, or any kind of a direct feeling of just back away. You just get to know and meet people in a setting that is kind of like, what are those lunch dates they do? You know what I mean? You're only here for a little bit and then you can leave.
Right.
And so
Yep.
to me, that's the beauty of what we do. It's getting to know people. You know how I am. You get to know the person and you dig into what they really want, and then you go find it. And then you go,
Exactly.
okay, now how do we get it? So see how excited I get right now just by the idea of Sunday, we might be able to do something of that sort. Now, again, this may be the new norm for a while. We won't be as group connected, just for people's health sake. I mean, just for the sake of not taking any chances or risks. Um, but there's still a way. So it isn't about you put up there. It isn't about what we can't do.
Yes. So
We can do it. We just have to
so
do it differently.
so for people tuning in today, and you're going to see some of the posts up on our social streams and such. We have an open house. Colleen and I are hosting this Sunday. It's going to be in Summerlin in the Paseos. It's going to be a great. It's a great home designed for the growing family. It's over 3,000 square feet. Great proximity to some of the best highly rated schools. So it's gonna be fun because it gives us an opportunity now in a COVID situation. Just so people know, when you go into open houses today, instead of being able to just easily walk in, you do have to fill out a little registration. And part of that is one for health and tracing because of certain situations, because we want to, as agents, present a healthy environment as best as possible. Same from the seller standpoint, but also too from the visitor standpoint, that they know that best practices to minimize the risk of catching COVID is there and in place. So we'll also have the protective equipment with regards to masks, gloves available, sanitizers, things of that nature, so people can feel comfortable with touring such a nice property as the one we're going to be hosting. And also, too, we keep the amount of people, visitors, in the house at one time to one party or one group, so as to minimize spreading risks.
Yeah, it's just all for the safety of everybody. It's not,
Absolutely.
you know, um, I have to do this.
Yeah. And so with Colleen there and I there too, we're going to have our technology up and online too. So because of availability, this is a great house, a great opportunity for people looking for a larger, 3,000 plus square foot home. But we'll also have our information together as to being able to provide you the information you need with regards to what's out there. We'll also even probably shoot a couple of little videos live, just so in case you aren't able to make it. Let's say you're still out and about running some errands east side of town, you can at least tune into our Facebook page and check it out.
There's one
That's
thing I'd like to get out there as well. I look back on 2020, and I will say that we have, in the last year, really done well at nothing's ever perfect, but perfecting more so our listings and showings and the ability to market a property. Because if I weren't in real estate and I saw what we do, I'd do it. There's a lot I mean, I'm very, very proud to say and very grateful that you're my partner for that. To say that the way that the way that we put together a listing, regardless of price or what type of home, really shows it off and gets it out there and shows that this is we're serious about what we do, and we're serious about the person, the people, the home, the because our rate, what was our return at 90, what was our end result on listings versus sale price?
Oh, 20, 20, like I can pull that.
Within like, were we above asking, or were we within? I can't remember,
We
but
were we
it
were
works.
just shy of asking, and let's see. I believe I've got the numbers.
Well, while you're looking, let me explain what just shy of asking happens. There are times where we have to push the number in the beginning to see if the number would go any higher. But I would say in our estimations, we have been within, if not better than, what the price that we felt the house would sell for. I mean, we're pretty good at putting it together, getting it out there, and making it happen. And that's something we have worked really hard this year on doing, especially with the challenges of COVID. How do you do that? And that was the big deal. If people can't come out in groups and see this, how do we get it out there so that people feel like they were in it?
No, exactly. And if I've some reason I'm trying to pull up our transaction recaps here, and I don't know why that
Okay.
my
Well,
little
I'm going to
shortcut
do while
went.
you're waiting. You ready?
Okay.
People need to see this. This, my dear, is a recap of how, I don't know where I am here. Is
There
that
you go.
right?
You're centered there. Yeah.
Right there. It just
Nice.
is. That was our year. Ah, that was the Christmas card, and it really and truly kind of it was perfect
encapsulated
because that was the
2020.
year. What the heck? What do we do? What's going on? And it still turned out to be great.
Exactly. Exactly. And I appreciate the comments too, because I mean, I think that's one of the things that we love to pride ourselves on and separate ourselves. It's the marketing of a property. I mean, clients bring us on, from a selling standpoint, seller and clients bring us on board or bring an agent on board really because of a few reasons. I mean, one, we know what to look out for. We understand the market. We understand what's going on trend line wise. We understand what is important to those buyers that are going to be looking at these particular homes, and also how to maximize the marketability of homes. I mean, that's my background. I mean, digital marketing. I mean, you've been out
Hmm.
in the industry, both in new homes. I mean, you've seen it all across the spectrum. So, bringing on a team like ours that comes in with a strategy and expertise, and I'm just going to go there because we had a conversation about it last night. It's not about, ultimately for our sellers, it's about what you walk away with. What
Yeah,
is that
it's
number?
what is your goal? Because I mean,
Yep.
there's other things that go in there too, as far as how soon, as far as how much, as far as I mean, it's not just a price tag and then off you go. There's a little bit more involved in most of the transactions.
Exactly. And so what you walk away with, and people still look at what are you going to charge, and
Hmm.
we definitely have a service for our fees. And there are groups that charge more, not as many, but there's more groups that charge less. And the old adage of what you get, what you pay for, uh, holds true in real estate just as it does in other adages. And so, because what we do is, our the marketing dollars we go in. I mean, those are bundled into our fees and costs to market a property, and the results show, because when we look at things like, okay, what's going on there, how are our sales doing? I mean, like you said, we were like 99.8% of our list price. That's a
Okay,
that's a that's pretty good. And in some cases,
very good.
we sold the house above list price, multiple
Hmm.
offers.
Hmm.
So when you look at the average, now this is a seller's market. We have low inventory. That number for the rest of the Vegas Valley is like 99%. So we're like 0.8%. Now last year we were even higher because we
Yeah.
weren't quite as strong. So those fees and costs that go into our services are in many cases made up for, exceeded by the selling price of the net walk away proceeds.
Hmm. And especially in a market like right now,
Yeah.
that I think it's a misnomer for people to think that they can go, okay, we're going to cut rate it, just take some pictures and throw it on the MLS, it'll sell. Not if you're wanting top dollar for it. There's a whole strategy behind an understanding of value and perceived value. Not to say the value's not there, but they have to perceive the value before they go after it.
Yes.
So I think that's where we come in, is that we get the value out there for people to see, as opposed to, oh yeah, there's this house, come bid on it. There's more of a this could be the one, or this is the one I want. Now let's go look at it, versus, well, maybe, what do you think? But I don't think I want to pay that for that house because X, Y, and Z. It doesn't show well. The pictures make, I mean, the marketing makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Because that is what it's about. Because regardless of, even though we have low inventory, if you're putting your house on the market, people are
Hmm.
seeing you show up. Let's think about this, ladies and gentlemen, tuning in. When you're online and you're searching, and you say, okay, I want Las Vegas, or I want Summerlin, or I want Anthem, or I want 89052, and I want
Mhm.
3,000 to 3,500 square feet, or if I want 2,000 to 2,500 square feet, 2-car garage, and this is what I want to pay for it, you're going to get a set of results back. You might get 10 homes back. You may receive 50 homes back. The key is, from a seller standpoint, does your house show more interestingly than the other 9 or the other 49?
Mhm. How much does somebody want it?
Exactly. And
And
first impressions are online visually.
hmm
Whether it's Zillow, whether it's Realtor, whether it's our website of Vegas Homes NV, whether it's Facebook, it doesn't matter. It's about visual appeal, and that's where, when you look at our strategies, when we implement them all the way, with regards to our photography team, our videography team, our website landing pages, our email marketing, we turn a property. We work with our sellers to make those properties stand out about the others. And you hear me use this adage a lot. You're in the supermarket, you're going down the aisle, and you're looking for snacks. What bag of chips do you go for? And
hmm
some people might already have a brand in mind, but if you've got it cluttered against other brands, you better make sure it stands out.
Well, and that's that again, it's not like trying to put a negative on it. The marketing we're doing isn't trumped up marketing. It isn't something that says this is something that it's not,
No
but
pun
it is
intended.
something that you have to, yeah, no pun intended. I have to learn to not use that
Yeah,
term anymore, I
yeah,
guess. The idea is to make sure that it shows the best. Okay, prime example, when we go on these Copy with Cramer,
yep.
do we make ourselves look better, or do we just roll out of bed and go, hey guys, I don't care?
Exactly. I got my hair like up this
I,
way.
I,
I
don't,
got
I
my
don't care.
jammies on.
It
Exactly.
reminds me, those listings remind me of I don't care.
Yep.
Well, if you don't care, then I'm going to feel like that property is not that worthy of your attention,
Yep.
or you haven't put the attention into the property. So it's all in the presentation and how people perceive it when they first see it. So
Exactly.
that's where our job, and I think I give tons of credit to you. Our job and our success is that we are able to go, okay, this will present this home so that people will come see it. Then you'll see everything you want to see, but you don't necessarily, like I said, want me to wake up in the morning and then turn the camera on. Not that I want to go look at that, So, and no, I know people have those things that say, yeah, I woke up like this, but they're lying.
Right. And truly too, if you're not putting the care into it, the marketing wise, what happens in the next step with regards to getting the highest amount of eyeballs on the site, which should translate in the highest amount of visits, which should then translate into offers received. I mean, there are pretty simple numbers on how these things roll out. It's not a high degree of sophistication, and you know, again, had a couple situations where we had a couple of houses where I pretty confident that the another agent or team would have walked in and said, "Oh no, you got to go do it this way. You got to repaint the house. You got to do this." What did we do? We said, "Okay, wait a minute. There's a story. We can tell a story here. We
hmm
can make this
hmm
fun. We can make this interesting. We can lean in."
And that
And
was one of the houses, if I know which one you're talking about, that we actually got more than we thought we were going to get for it.
oh, it set a record in the community.
Yep,
And they
yep,
got
yep,
it
yep.
got it done in the timetable that the clients wanted. They were excited and happy. You found them a new great place. That that was some juggling
hmm
acts that go beyond just the marketing, because if we're caring about the marketing and embracing and all that, we're also going to care about every other step of the way
Right.
till the deal's done.
Yeah. So
So
that's 2021 is how
yeah,
to do it,
yeah,
um, buyer or seller.
yes,
Um, and again, do we have a crystal ball?
nope,
No. All indications, as they say, what is it on Ouija board or on the 8 ball? All indications show
magic
yes
eight
or
ball.
no. Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically, we're going to continue to push forward. You're not going to tell us what we can't do. We're going to figure out what we can do and how
yep,
to do it. It's just done differently. Numbers and housing to continue to trend upward.
Yep.
So, and it doesn't have to be existing homes. The new homes actually love doing those as well. There are some challenges that come because they're long-term commitment,
Yep.
and as far as delivery dates, there's a little bit more of a need for flexibility. And there's angles and ways that you have to put the game together for a new home. If you own a home already, if you're renting something, it's a little easier.
Exactly.
So there's all those things that go into, and I cannot wait to start this year and go, okay, it's like it's an old job with a new way of doing it. So we're learning things to go, okay, I've always done it this way, but now to affect the same outcome, let's figure out how we have to do it this way.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
that's what I'm
And
looking forward to in 2021.
it's a new season. It's a new start. We've implemented new strategies to stay ahead of the ball game. We, as our group, we like to lean in. We believe your real estate experience matters. We believe in a modern approach to real estate.
Hmm.
We embrace technology. We embrace also to a high degree of personal touch
Big time.
because it's important. Now, overall in the macro 2020, and we're going to strive to do even to build upon what we did in 2020 and 2021. That's our commitment to all of our clients, to people that we speak to about real estate. Uh, Interest rates are still going to be low. It looks like housing supply is still going to be a bit of a question mark. Um, we're still building houses, but we're certainly not building them at the rate that we did prior to the Great Recession. The one sleeping giant we haven't talked about that I think too is going to be big in demand, it's migration,
Yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yes,
domestic
yes.
migration, and we've seen it,
Hmm.
because we talk about it a lot. California, 39 million people are still there is still there is a number of people moving out of the state to places like Austin, to places like Dallas, to places like Denver, to
Hmm.
places like Memphis, to places like
Arizona
Orlando, Phoenix, and Las Vegas.
and Las Vegas
Yep.
and Las Vegas. And
And
there's a reason for it.
there's a reason for it. And so that migration, we've seen this migration over 30 years. This is not ending. This is not ending tomorrow. This is not ending a year from now.
The thing that this whole COVID thing has done, truthfully, is ramp that up.
Yep. Because job habits have changed,
Hmm.
housing desires have changed all in the last
Hmm.
year. Turned it up on its head. When is that going to reset itself back the other way? That's a good question mark, and I don't know if anyone has a good answer for that.
No, but just looking at 2021, interest rates are good. Volume availability isn't as much as we'd like to have happen,
Yep.
but at the same time, pricing and the types of homes we have, the land we have. I mean, face it. You look at the cities you were speaking of, the congestion is not as much. We are wide open still. It's a
Yep.
joke to people from other states that come in and go, "You think that's traffic?
Right.
That's funny." Driving my kids to how much 20 minutes to get to school.
Exactly.
Okay, so, and now school is in the house anyway, so,
Well, and
but I
still,
think
once it
2021 will
returns,
change for sure, for sure.
we're within walking distance of one of the top elementary schools. They haven't announced it yet, but most likely within a half a mile to a mile of a new middle school. Because we're still on the edge of development here. We
Yeah.
so there's a lot of convenience and opportunity, and when Las Vegas kind of quote unquote reopens for business,
Hmm.
we will bring back online all those other elements that you and we talked about, like why to move to Las Vegas, the food, the shows, the entertainment, the events, those become available again, just like they're becoming available in other, there's some parts with them, but most of it's not. It's
It
we're
will.
hard to beat.
It will. And I have to tell you, and then we'll close because I know
Yep.
we've taken this New Year's ride for quite one, but
Our
it's just kind of
special.
fun. It's not like we don't like talking about real estate. So,
Exactly.
but I just made a drive-in, drive-out trip to Phoenix, my birthday, the 17th, and I stopped at a stand on the side of the road that they had, because I grew up in Phoenix and the citrus, I just miss it. So they had these bags of oranges and then they had local honey.
Yep.
And so I stopped the girl and I said, I want some. And we're chit chatting. She goes, "Where are you from?" And I said, "We're going back to Las Vegas." And she just went, "Las Vegas. Is it open yet? Can we get there? I so want to." And it was funny because this was just a random, and her eyes lit up
Yep.
and said, "I so want to go see." So what it did is it gave me an understanding and more of a positive attitude towards we will come back because people love it here.
Mm-hmm.
They
Absolutely.
just love coming here, living here, visiting here, being. So, and again, it was just a cute little feeling of, yep, that's the place. That's it. So
Exactly.
I think we'll be okay.
No, I think we're gonna
There's
get
some
through it.
things we have to do, but
There are going to be
okay.
some bumps in the road. We kind of say, I talked about, are we going to be seeing a tidal wave, or are we going to be seeing some high seas for a little bit? We're still working through it. The good news is the vaccines are being rolled out. That's great.
Hmm.
Hopefully, it sounds like we may be starting to see a downtick in hospitalizations. Hopefully, I just cross our fingers for everyone for their health and safety.
Yeah.
So we've been on this call along. We'd love to chat about real estate, Colleen. We always enjoy it. I know you've got to run. I've got to run and get a couple other things, catch up with some clients today. Anything else you want to wrap up with our 2020 2021
I just want to
video?
say to you and to everybody else that we've had the honor, the pleasure, and the privilege of being involved with this year.
Yes.
Thank you for everything. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Although Christmas is done, I just
Yes.
hope that ours was different. And looking forward to doing some more next year. And let's do what we can. Let's don't look at what we can't. Let's make it happen.
Yep.
So
And we
Happy
like to
New
do
Year.
absolutely. Thank you, Colleen. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everyone out there. We wish you all a wonderful and safe and healthy holiday time. We also wish you all the best in 2021. And if there's any questions you've got on buying, selling, or investing in real estate, do us a big favor. You can reach out to us by direct messaging us online, filling out our contact forms on our Vegas Homes NV webpage. Also, give us a call on our main phone line online there, which is 702-710-3798. We'd love to answer those questions for you. So we greatly appreciate you tuning in to our year-end coffee with Cramer and Colleen. Appreciate everything you do, partner, and look forward to working with you and making it an awesome 2021.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Take care,
See you
everybody.
in the new year.
Bye bye.
Bye.